Okay, Algebra 2, we're on page 11 of your homework packet. This is problem 52, so we are solving this equation. Of course, you can always plug the answers in and see which one works, but to solve a cube root, what you want to do is isolate the cube root, so you're going to subtract 2. And you get the cube root of x is equal to 2. And then to undo cube root, what you want to do is cube both sides. So that will cancel out your cube root, and you just get x equals 8. Alright, in problem 53 we want to do h of j of x. So don't worry too much about the domain parts at the end. They're not going to give you an answer that's right except for the domain, so just worry about what's to the left of the comma. Don't worry about the stuff after the comma. So h of j of x, you're going to start with your outer function h, and you're going to substitute the x with j of x right here. So this x is substituted with j of x. So it's 2 times j of x minus 1. And then we're going to actually put the function j of x in. So that would be 2 times the square root of x minus 1. And then another minus 1. And let's see if we find an answer that matches that. It looks like A is exactly the same. Okay, 54, we're going to be doing power over root here. But notice that your answers all have 2 instead of 8, so we need to make 8 into a power of 2. So we have the 6th root of 2 cubed, m to the 12th, and then we're going to do power over root. So the power is 3 and the root is 6. And for m, the power is 12. And the root is 6, and then you just have to simplify. So you get 2 to the 1/2 m squared. Looks like that matches answer F. On to the next page. In 55, you have the division of 2 fractions. So what you want to do is change the division to multiplication by flipping the second fraction. So the first fraction stays the same, and you flip the second fraction. Alright, then when you're multiplying, if you have something in the numerator and the denominator, then you can cancel that out. So you end up with just 1 over x minus 2, which is answer A. Alright, in problem 56, you may want to graph that on your calculator so that you can see what the end behavior looks like. So let's move the calculator out of the way so we can still see the problem. So the end behavior, press your y equals, clear out what you got. Okay, 1/2. I'm going to put my 1/2 in parentheses. And then x to the 5th. So then you look at the graph and you can see the left is down, the right is up. I'm going to write underneath this problem the way we've been doing end behavior, because you may see that kind of terminology as well on your SOL test. So the right answer here is the left is down and the right is up. But the way we see this written nowadays is as x goes to negative infinity, f of x goes to negative infinity. And as x goes to positive infinity, f of x goes to positive infinity. Make sure you're familiar with that as well. Okay, 57 is a difference of squares. So let's start with our pattern. A squared minus b squared is a minus b times a plus b. And then 100x squared, that's going to be the square of 10x. And 1 is the square of 1. So our a is 10x and our b is 1. So that's going to give us 10x minus 1 times 10x plus 1. And that's the same as answer C. Okay, in 58, the length of the diagonal D of a cube is given by this formula where S is the length of the side of the cube. The diagonal of the cube measures 6 meters, So that tells us that D is 6, and we're going to try to find the length of the side. So I'm going to substitute 6 for D. 6 is equal to the square root of 3s squared. I'm going to square both sides next to get rid of my square root. So I get 36 equals 3s squared, then divide by 3. So 12 equals s squared. And then remember, when you solve, you usually do plus or minus square root, but because this is a distance, it could only be the positive square root. So s is going to equal the square root of 12, but they simplified that answer, maybe? They did for one of their choices. So they said square root of 12 or 2 root 3. Okay, next page. Alright, so for 59, we are going to put this in our calculator, and we are going to do an ln reg. And then for 60, we may want to do that on the calculator as well, or we might want to use your quadratic formula. Alright, so let's get the calculator ready. Stat, edit. And to clear your list, you go to the title and press clear, enter, and up to the title, and press clear, enter. And in list 1, we're going to put 1,000,000 and 10,000, 100, 1.01. And then in L2, 135, 79. Okay, and then we need to do stat and calculate, and the ln reg is the logarithmic regression. A lot of people want to do logistic, and that's not the right one. It's ln reg. So it's going to be 7 plus negative 0.43 ln x, and that's going to be answer choice A. Alright, so then for 60, you can find the quadratic formula on your formula sheet. Negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And we'll plug our numbers in here. Oh, but before we can even start that, it has to equal 0, so I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. So it's 2x squared plus 6x plus 1 equals 0. So that's our A, B, and C. Alright, so negative 6 plus or minus the square root. B squared is 36 minus 4 times 2 times 1 all over twice A, so 2 times 2. Alright, we want to simplify what's underneath our square root. It looks like 36 minus 8, which is going to be 28. So negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 28 over 4. And next you want to take out the perfect square that's underneath the radical. I can make 28 equal the square root of 4 times 7. So then you can take out the square root of 4. You get negative 6 plus or minus 2 root 7 over 4. And then you can actually divide everything there by 2. So that's divided by 2, that's divided by 2, and that's divided by 2. And that gives you a final answer of negative 3 plus or minus root 7 over 2. And let's see. That's going to match negative 3/2. Looks like the first one. Alright, and that's it. You're done with your homework packet. You hopefully are ready for your SOL, but remember to do your JLabs as well.